Hello, everybody. This is Mocha from tarotbymocha.com, and today I have a long video for you guys. Like, look at this. These are all the questions I'm going to be asking, and it's going to be all about the United States' very first Pluto return since the United States was a country. And for the people who are mostly here for celebrity readings, I urge you guys to stick around and at least watch this one, because this Pluto return is going to affect all of us, right? We saw a taste of it back in 2008, and if any of you are old enough, that was a big crash that we had in 2008. I was in college. No prospects after that one for a while. It's possible that may happen again. So again, I understand that most of you guys prefer my celebrity readings, but this one, if you're going to watch one that is not celebrity readings, make sure you watch this one. And before I begin, I want to give you guys a heads up. So on my website as well as my Etsy page, I uploaded 2 new readings. One is called Root Detector. Every once in a while, I'll get a client who wants to know if they've been cursed. So that's for them. If you don't feel like it, don't get it. But I have another one that a lot of you may enjoy. It's called New Year, New Me, tarot reading for 2022. So there are 2 versions. There's a $40 one where I talk about your career, finances, romance, and give you an oracle card for what you should focus on. And then there is a $90 one where I focus on all of that, but your shadow work that you should be doing, the lessons that you learn, what you should bring in, all this stuff. I go really deep into it. So there's that. But then, sorry for this being so long. If you don't want to pay for that, and I know some of you don't, on January 1st, 2022, I will be doing brief 2022 readings on IG. I'll figure out the time and let you guys know, but just know that you have free $40, $90. Okay, let's get started. Okay, now first, let me explain a Pluto return for you guys. I'm sure that some of you have heard of, a Saturn return. A lot of people are very scared of that because they think that, I'm gonna die. That's not what that is. It's basically you maturing, learning tough lessons, and potentially getting a gift from your tough lessons. And if you don't learn it, it's going to happen at the next Saturn return, but it's probably going to be a little bit tougher. But that's similar to what a Pluto return is, except that a Pluto return, because it's the furthest planet from the sun, it was taken out of our list of planets, but whatever. In terms of astrology, it's the furthest planet away from the sun. So the revolution for a Pluto return takes a very long time, and it's around 250 years. So if any of you guys are history buffs in terms of astrology, the reason why so many empires fall or have a very abrupt revolution every 250 or 500 years, Pluto return is the reason. So the United States, I think we were founded 244 years ago. Don't quote me on that. But basically what's happening is that Pluto is returning to the same position it was in on our country's birthday. And our country's birthday, even though the Declaration of Independence was signed a different day, because Ben Franklin, he was an astrologist, and he knew what was up, but the country's birthday is considered to be July 4th, 1776. So around 250 years, 244, whatever you want to call it, that's going to be our Pluto return. And unfortunately for us, our Pluto return is in Capricorn, which, that's the devil card that rules money, sex, whatever. But what we're mostly concerned with is it rules money, it rules institutions, governments, corporations, rules, regulations, blah, 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 blah. Things like that. So that's why this Pluto return is going to be so explosive for us. And like I said previously, we saw a taste of it back in the year 2008 when we had the stock market crash. That was not fun at all, especially being a new grad looking for a job. But we saw a taste of that because Pluto was in Capricorn. It wasn't our Pluto return, it's just that Pluto was in Capricorn, which brings about revolutions in how we do things, you know? It's, sometimes, and you know, for something to be revolutionized, things have to break down. And I feel like we also saw some of the shadow period last year in 2020 with the BLM, with the Black Lives Matter stuff, as well as the COVID stuff, as well as restrictions, all this stuff. So essentially, you know, we're going to be in for a rough ride. And of course, some people will profit, some people won't. So I'm not saying that everybody's going to be broke and destitute. It's just that there are going to be a lot of changes in the US. And I believe it goes exact February 19th to 22nd, something like that, 2022. And we're going to be feeling the Pluto return for the next 2 years, so until 2024. But because it's a very long transition, it's going to be happening over some time. Okay, so it's not like February 2020, 2022, everything's going to go to hell. You know, it's not like that. It's just that things take time. All right, so now let's get into the first question. I am so sorry for all of that long preamble. Let's get into the first question. Okay, so first I just want to ask about the Pluto return. And again, this is going to be happening over the course of definitely 2 years, but we're going to be feeling reverberations much longer than that. So I'm only going to focus on 2022 through 2024. And first I want to ask, what is going to be the general mood of the United States? And then I'm going to bring in a different deck to talk about the undercurrent that we're probably not paying attention to, but it's definitely affecting us. Okay, so let's see. What the fuck? No! Already, all freaking ready, man. Oh my gosh, why? Why? All right, I mean, these aren't even the shadow cards, but look at what's showing up in the general mood of the country. Oh my gosh, why? Look at him. And for some of you guys who don't know, Trump is my King of Wands. Why does why? Why? Oh my gosh, why? Okay, let's look at the undercurrent. Oh my gosh. Look at these two. Look at these two together, these two. Okay. So these two here, these are Biden's cards here. So he's gonna be struggling. I think in my last video of him and Kamala Harris, I said that he's sick. But the thing is that what he's sick with, it doesn't seem like a big deal to me, but I think because he's an older person and potentially some of the medications he's taking is actually going to take a toll on his body. And I'm sure you saw his little, I'm not even going to get into my biases, but his little death wish, Christmas wish that he gave us, that address on the 21st, the winter solstice, wishing every unvaccinated person dies or whatever. He was coughing quite a bit in that. And it's not a big deal for him, but it's something that's going to follow him. So it's sort of like, you know, back in the day, I don't know, someone had cholera or something like that, or maybe even just the flu, but because the weather is so cold and it's so dank, and maybe it got their lungs pretty badly, so there's always going to be this lingering cough. That's what I feel like with him, because the sickness isn't a big deal. I've seen some people try to guess like maybe he has cancer, all this stuff. First of all, don't be like him. Don't wish bad things on people because they don't agree with you, you know? I don't think it's a big deal, but I think it's going to take a toll on his body over time. I also feel like he should not be president. I've been saying, well, okay, I'm not saying that the votes were rigged. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that he's frail. He has a lot of energy, but body-wise, he's frail. And the more he pushes himself, the sicker he's going to get. It's similar with the Wendy Williams reading when I said that she wants to work, she loves her job, but she doesn't respect the fact that her body can't take all that work anymore. She's getting older. Same thing with President Joe Biden. He's getting older. He's sick. You know, you can blow wind on him and he'll just fall over. You know, so he needs to realize that, or else he's going to screw himself up. You know. Okay. So this is just Biden, and then I asked, what is the mood of the people? I'm asking about the people. Why is Trump here? Why is he here? And I know this is him because he's directly opposing Biden's energy. So I don't know, you know, I've talked about this on Instagram before, but it should be for people who are watching tarot readings, psychic readings, especially politics. Y'all should know by now that these people are freaking devotees and magicians and warlocks and whatnot. So like this just came into my head. I don't know if it's true, but this just came into my head. The sicker Biden gets, the more power Trump gets. So I don't know if Trump put some juju on Biden. I don't know what it is, but for 2022, it's like a resurgence of Trump. So he's there, and I feel like, you know, listen, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I feel like the Democrats, Biden, his administration, they're driving people towards Trump. Like, that's what's happening. I don't know if Trump is going to win. I don't even know if he's going to be able to run. They're both very elderly, but that's what's happening in this country right now. But in terms of the people, more fighting, more bullshit. More fighting, more bullshit, more defending our ideas. But this one is interesting because I feel like for this Pluto return, I think travel is definitely going to be restricted. We see this here. Travel is definitely going to be restricted, but I feel like people will be fleeing, but then not fleeing like we're refugees. But I feel like some people do kind of feel like refugees, you know. So some of them will be going to third world countries to live a nice life free from government. I think that's what's going to happen. But at the same time, this is my card of war, guys. So I've talked about this before, about a civil war type of thing, and where I don't feel like there's going to be an outright resurgence of Lincoln and whatnot. You know, I don't think that, but I still feel this civil war energy around the United States. I mean, we're going to get buck on people outside of the country, but I also feel like the people are going to war with each other, but also our government is going to war with us. Like, you know, like this is the card of dictatorship for me. And this is, along with travel, this is also my war card, and here's the fighting here. So we're definitely going to be having conflict with people outside of the US, but within the US, I think the people will be fighting each other and the government will be fighting the people. Hopefully the people will start to fight the government instead of each other, but I think this is what's going to be going on. As for these cards here, like, this should be freaking self-explanatory. And sometimes this is, oh shit, actually, sometimes this is Kamala Harris's energy. So, and I think in my last video, I'll link it in one of those little boxes above, but I know that next year she's going to receive a promotion of some sort. I don't know if she's going to be, you know, once one of the justices passes on, I don't know if the Biden wants to get rid of her that way, or if something happens to him and she steps up, or if he's just like, sickly and tired and we start seeing more of her later on. But this is her energy as well. So she shows up as Queen of Pentacles, but sometimes she has this Emperor here because she is more ham-fisted than people realize she is. So whenever people see her in interviews, she's all smile, she's giggling and whatnot. That's not her real personality. This is her real personality. This is her real personality when she's pissed off. And I saw this once the CNN reports about her being a bully came out. This devil came up with her frequently. So this could be her, but this is definitely our government going apeshit over the next 2 years. So there's that. So now underneath, I'm looking at, I guess, the shadow side of what's happening, what's going to be influencing us. And with Biden, I really think he's going to be, I don't know how active he's going to be in the final 2 years of his presidency. He may just be at home with his family. Like his energy is never strong. Whenever I read on the US, normally either his administration or Kamala is, well, actually his administration, Kamala, and Trump is actually pretty strong. His energy is pretty strong. I haven't read on him since he had COVID, because he didn't have COVID in October. He had it back in April or May. Okay, he had a heart attack in October. But yeah, I think the spotlight is going to be on Biden, but it's going to be like, where is he? What is he doing? What's going on with this? Like, what's going on? I think that's what's going to happen with him, and he's just not. It's not that he's going to be he won't be anywhere to be found. Does that make sense? It's not that he's going to be completely gone. I just think that, more often people are going to be asking who's running the show. Who is? We don't know. And when it comes to the people, restrictions here. This is the Eight of Swords. And I mean, the good part of this card is in the traditional Rider-Waite. The young lady, she's surrounded by swords and she's bound and her eyes are blindfolded, but she can still step out of those swords whenever she wants to. But this is a little bit, it's bleak on one hand, but it's also a little bit more, I guess, optimistic, because it's seeing you as a transformation, as a change. The American people, we're going through a transformation. The Death card energy is here. We are going through a transformation. A lot of us are very scared. Well, not me, and probably not any of you guys, but a lot of Americans are very scared to change and grow, and to be on their own. That they refuse to spread their wings because they feel like we're going to be ripped apart. You may be, but you're going to live. You'll be all right. So I think, so I guess that's the spiritual part of it. But on the practical side, there's just going to be a lot of restrictions. There won't be as much wiggle room as Americans are used to having. And I think this has to do with finances, supply chain, things like that. But then here, these two cards are very interesting. We have the Moon here and we have the Magician. This is like big time manipulation. Big time manipulation. And again, listen, man, look, I feel like this is our government doing this to us. It's our, well, I mean, do you really want to call it a government? Like, it could be like global powers, whatever. This is big time manipulation, and this is what's fueling all of these fights, these potential wars, Trump resurgence. We're being manipulated big time. Some people can already see it, but most people can't. I don't know why, but they just can't, or maybe they're afraid to. They're afraid to. So that's the general mood of the country. Okay, now before I get into the economic side of this question, because again, this Pluto return is in Capricorn, so we're mostly going to be concerned with money and revolution, probably cryptocurrency, digital stuff, surveillance, all this stuff. I just want to ask more, a couple more general questions about, general for the next 2 years, and possibly beyond. What are we really going to be concerned about as a country? Let's see. Oh, there's two. Interesting. Well, okay. So if anyone thinks that coronavirus is going to magically clear up next year with the booster regimen, that's not happening. Okay, so I see quite a few things here. The first thing that came up are job offers. Let's see. Job offers, children, social media, coronavirus, money, healing, natural. I feel like natural healing as well. I mean, I basically answered the question already, but yeah. So I'm looking at this. So definitely work, job, and I'm going to look at that in the economics portion of this, how this is going to go for our Pluto return. But definitely, I mean, people are just overworked in general. Obviously, we have people who work from home, they drop ship, they're entrepreneurs, they're CEOs, whatever. But like the common American, they're definitely overworked. And I think a lot of people will be moving around, maybe starting new creative pursuits or potentially going back to school so that the amount of time they spend working is working for them instead of them working their asses off for very little in return. So there's going to be that. I also feel like mental health, but mental health coupled with social media, it's going to be the talk of the town. It's going to be highlighted, and I think with this pandemic, they're already talking about anxiety, especially for young people, for students. I feel like a lot of this is going to be the worries of young people. I mean, I'm 34, but I still consider myself a young person, even though some Gen Z call me auntie already. But I think a lot of young people will start to come out talking about this stuff. But definitely social media is going to be a concern. Surveillance is going to be a concern. So not just like social media, our phones, but also like government surveillance. Some things have passed with some of these bills about monitoring bank accounts and whatnot. So that's here. Let me get a drink. Let me get a sip of water really quick. Actually, it's tea. But I think mental health is going to be a huge topic, and we're probably going to see a record number of people, but especially young people, enroll in therapy. It could be traditional, probably not in an office, especially if you're in a blue state or a blue city where intermittent lockdowns are going to be a thing, because it's definitely going to be a thing. But we're going to see record number enrollments into therapy, maybe like some Reiki sessions or something like that. I think people are just going to be going for as much help as they can, because it's I mean, the pandemic was already a lot of stress, but I think this coming currency crisis, that's global, by the way. It's not just the US, but it's global currency crisis, as well as inflation. It's really going to rock people's world. Okay. I mean, and of course there are going to be some spiritual stuff happening, but that's an individual thing, so I'm not going to talk about it here. But the thing that I'm seeing here is that Miss Rona girl, she's going to be around us for quite some time. If anyone thought, for people who don't know, Queen of Wands is my card for Miss Rona. Anyone thought that she was just going to magically disappear with like taking 50 freaking booster shots, it's not happening. But she's going to be here. But again, this whistleblower, this whistleblower, because in my previous mandate video, I said that around the summer, late spring, summertime, there's going to be a whistleblower event, and it's not going to be one person. It's going to be things happening one by one. That's just it's going to piss people off. I don't know what it is. I do have psychic ability, but not that far. I'm not a remote viewer. But some whistleblower about Miss Rona is, I mean, they're going to pour their heart out. They're going to sing like a canary. And I mean, I don't know if this whistleblower event is going to be talking about the origins of Rona, or if they're going to be talking about some profit motivations for Rona. I don't know exactly what it is, but whoever these people are, they're going to talk, and it's going to wake a lot of people the hell up who are still asleep. And then finally, of course, money. And this is the King of Pentacles. So this is like, I mean, I have different cards for financial institutions, but this is going to be like, I think this is going to be maybe not our institutions, but I think how we value money, or maybe just the things that we value or what we think of it. This could also go into the crypto stuff. And sometimes this card is also Elon Musk. I can't stand that guy. But sometimes this is Elon Musk. So I'll look more into this once I get to the specific questions about jobs in the economy. But I just wanted to see what we're going to be paying attention to. Come on, this is not this is not an answer. Okay, very very quickly, basically they're just okay. Actually no, because you know what, I've seen this before. When I first opened my channel a few months ago, I said that something about our food sources, that I think we would have food shortages, but not only that our actual food, the production of food, is not going to be what we expect it to be. So right now, I mean, it's the holidays. I really don't want to give you guys too much bad news, but it's the holidays, and they're telling me that we're having a good time now, but what we're not paying attention to is, of course, how much money we technically don't have, of course, but also our food source. So I see this in a multitude of ways, but when I look at this is a knight, obviously. This is the farmer, obviously. But here, this is freshly tilled. Well, let's see. This is, oh my gosh, I'm doing this on the camera. This is freshly tilled land, okay? So this is freshly tilled land. And typically this Knight of Pentacles is very slow energy. So it's something that's going to develop over time. And here, this is the Seven of Pentacles. So this is someone who is getting impatient because things aren't going his way and they're not going as quickly as he wants them to go. So I think we're paying attention to the things that we're importing from China, from Nicaragua, from Mexico, from wherever. We're not paying attention to the land here in our country. So something is happening with farmland, with farmers, with our agriculture, that we're gonna regret. We're gonna regret for the next 5 months. So I don't know. I think this could be a warning to just stock up. I mean, I think people should stock up regardless of what the cards say. But I think that if any of you guys feel comfortable with your food source or your storage or whatever, don't be comfortable. Get some more while you still can, and also while it's still affordable. So that's very quick. Very quick. One thing that irritates me about the reports on the American economy is that people tend to look at the stock market like that's a rich person's economy. That's not the regular people. So I'm going to split this up into at least 3 categories: job growth first, stock market second, and then crypto, because crypto is here to stay. And actually, I need to post that very quick video that I did on crypto, or I'll just link it in my Instagram. I don't really like repeating posts across platforms. But yeah, no, crypto is here to stay. They're going to go through some growth pains, and I think crypto is pretty much kind of in the slumps right now. But they're going through growth pains, and eventually it's going to be a way of life. And I think eventually the government is going to take it over, but we'll see. So growth. Actually, I should do this in 4. So it's going to be jobs, stock market, crypto, as well as the dollar, the US dollar. US dollar. Okay, let me organize this. Let's see. Okay. You know, I am not surprised by this BS that I see in these cards. Not surprised whatsoever. Not surprised by the BS. Not surprised. Not surprised whatsoever. By the time this Pluto return ends in the US, I don't think the dollar is going to be completely over with, obviously. But I think that we're going to be on the losing end of a lot of trade agreements. I'm not an economist, so I can't be more specific than that. But I feel like quite a bit of value is going to be lost in the dollar. And you see it here. This, for me, this is the card of PTS. A lot of people say that, oh, you know, this person, they're almost at the finish line, they should keep going. No. This is the card of somebody who's getting beat up. They're wary, they're defensive because there are enemies around them and they don't want to get hit again. And like I said, this Pluto return we got a taste of it back in 2008. But I feel like the stock market probably is not going to be reflecting the revolutions that will be happening in this country because these are bigwigs. They're the bigwigs, and like I said, some people flourish and some people just don't. And the people who play the stock market, I think they're going to flourish. So okay, so let's get to it. So in terms of jobs, I think working from home is going to be a big thing. Working from home is going to be big. And no matter what the big wigs think, working from home is here to stay for a lot of people. And I think that, and not just working from home for a company, but if you want to start your own business working online, you should do it now. Do it now while the energy is here, because people, I've been told this last year. That the energy that supports starting your own online business is here. I don't know how long it's going to be here. I mean, this reading is for 2022 to 2024. So if you've thought of starting a business or increasing the value of your side hustle, do it. Do it now. Do it. Like Shia LaBeouf, do it. So jobs, I think for some time, jobs are going to be fine. But again, people will still be feeling scarcity. So there's regular people are still going to be fighting each other, and it's so silly. But you know, I mean, it makes sense because that's just how hierarchical societies are built up. You know, the people at the top, they're fine, while everybody else, they're fighting for resources. You know, so I think that's going to happen. This whole narrative about the Great Resignation, I think a lot of people have quit. A lot of people will quit in order to start their own business at home. But I feel like some of it is a bit false, that you know, if you're somebody who's been looking for a job for a year and a half, you know that not everybody's hiring. So that's partially why people are going to be fighting for resources. Eventually, so while everybody's having a good time, and I think in the last section of this reading, I said that people are celebrating now, but they're not paying attention to inflation, but also our crops. I feel like right now, this is what people are doing in terms of jobs, but eventually we will receive news, I don't know who from, probably from the government, from mainstream media, that, I'm not going to say that this is going to be a depression. I'm not going to wish that on us. But eventually the good times are going to be, they're going to slow down. They're going to slow down for some people, well, for a lot of people, to a trickle. And then that's when like despair is going to come in. So listen, like I said, not everybody is going to be destitute, okay? So if you feel like you're not going to be destitute, then you won't, and you're going to make sure that you won't. So regardless of what I see here for the regular people, because this top line is the regular people, you don't have to be this person. Just consider yourself forewarned. If you want to start anything, go online, work from home, okay? So the stock market, great. People who are already rich will make more money. So that should be great for you guys. Great. Crypto. Look at here. I feel like crypto is already in this energy. But the thing about it, guys, cryptocurrency people, is that you guys want it to be mainstream. And okay, so here is a pretty decent analogy. So I'm Black American. I have natural hair. I'm not a product junkie, but I do use products every now and then. Most of the time I make my own. I also used to work in natural hair care. I was a research chemist after I did all my government stuff. And the biggest complaint from natural hair people is that once their favorite brand goes into a store, they change the ingredients and they hate the new formula because it doesn't work, it does da. But the thing that people have to understand is that in order to grow, they have to kill off the old. And I think that that's what's happening with crypto. Yeah, so I think that's what's happening with crypto, that for one, I've already said that crypto was created by the CIA, so whatever, you know? But for two, it's going to be legitimized eventually, probably in the next 2 years. It's definitely going to be legitimized, definitely by 5 years. But right now, I mean, there's just a lot of rich people that are, a lot of regular people are making money off of crypto, obviously, but there's manipulation going on behind the scenes, guys. And I have this one client where I read on crypto movements for her all the time, and I always see this person. It's normally Elon Musk, but I always see this person where it's just a bunch of rich people who are, I don't know, meme coins, shit coins, whatever the hell they're called. I don't know what they're called, but they go on Twitter, Elon, they go on Twitter, they post a picture of a dog, and then people go and buy up the dog, and then the dog coin, Shiba Inu, I think that's what it was. And then once they feel satisfied with their gains, they go and sell off their coins. Meanwhile, the regular people who bought those coins, they're shit out of luck. Like, that's just, I don't hate crypto. I don't know much about it. But this is just what I see all the time, especially when I read for that client, that there is so much manipulation going on. And this card always shows up with crypto. There's so much manipulation going on that this joyride that people are on right now, especially with Bitcoin, it's going to end. It's going to end, and it's going to stabilize. And that's what this card here is, the Knight of Pentacles. It's going to take some time to stabilize, but it will stabilize. And I think people also have to remember that crypto is still very young. It's extremely young, and it's going to take some time to mature. That's what the Knight of Pentacles does. And I think that there are going to be a lot of regulation changes with crypto, and the dollar, and there's all this crazy stuff about the Federal Reserve trying to create their own US dollar, so whatever. But listen, guys, make your money, But just know that there are going to be losses. There will be losses, but eventually with crypto, it's going to stabilize. Now that's out of the way. And with the US dollar, I think, hasn't the Federal Reserve said that they're going to begin tapering? Because there's going to be governmental interventions here. And actually, I need to, let me draw more cards on this digital dollar and some of these nutty people that Biden is recommending to be on the Federal Reserve. Oh shit. Look at that. I think the Federal Reserve is going to announce this digital dollar much sooner than we think, guys. I think right now they're sort of like back and forth on what they want to do, but I think they're going to announce this digital dollar sooner than we think. Ooh, maybe that's why crypto people feel like their time is over. Like I said earlier, that crypto is going to, or should I say, digital currency, cryptocurrency, whatever, it's going to be legitimized. But I said before that the government may take it over. So listen, I'm not an expert. I don't know. But when I saw Janet Yellen talk about, we're going to do some research on this digital dollar, it was already in the works. Wow. Listen, wow. I'm actually surprised by that. Okay, let me ask another question. I asked if the Federal Reserve will release the digital dollar before the end of 2024. High possibility. This could also be the financial revolution that we're going to have. Listen, I said all this stuff about like the New World Order and how it's not what people think it is. I mean, at least in my opinion, because I don't know everything, obviously. But I felt that the New World Order is going to be digital. That's what it is. Digital tracking of humans, digital money, digital health information. There are so many things that I want to link you guys to, but I feel like it's going to be digital. I had a dream about it. I was at an Amazon bookstore. I did not take out a wallet. I did not take out cash. I took out some black device with a green blinking sensor on it, and apparently in my dream I'm going to be married, but my husband was the one who paid for it, and a tiny little book that was less than 200 pages was $54. So listen, I saw that August 2021. That's what I saw. So guys, let me get on with this reading. Next, I saw an astrologer, and I will definitely link this YouTube that I saw. I think his name is Astrology, Donny Astrology, something like that. He's very cute. I really love watching his videos, because I'm not an astrologer, I'm just a tarot reader, but his point of view on things is very interesting. So he, like so many astrologers, see this civil war type of configuration going on. So many of us see it, even some psychics, we see it forming. But one thing interesting that he saw was that he said, well, we kind of technically already have it with Black Lives Matter versus the police. And I was like, you know what, that actually is interesting, because I did see that in reaction to Jussie Smollett's guilty verdict, one of the leaders of Black Lives Matter in Chicago, I think she says something like, we're for the abolition of black people. And I was like, listen, lady, last time I checked, we're free, okay? But because she used that word, and because this astrologer Danny, he was like, oh, we kind of already saw it with the clashes between the police and Black Lives Matter. I'm like, yeah, I think social unrest is a better word than civil war. So that's what I'm gonna look at right now. Social unrest. I mean, it's already here, so we already know that. But let's look at the energy of social unrest for the Pluto return. Well, that's a yes. Oh, these are same cards. Huh. Well, okay. So yeah, that's a yes. This is also that social unrest is going to be prevalent worldwide. And this is my international card too. So I think finally, for some people who only watch the news on the television, I think during this Pluto return, the media will finally show the social unrest. Why are they going to show it? I don't know, because it's been happening since last year. But for the next 2 years, they're finally going to give people who haven't seen it already, they're going to give them open view of it. Okay, so social unrest in the United States. Well, saying yes. Huh. Jeez. But again, I feel like people, because I said this in my mandate video, I feel like people will basically end up moving to places that agree with their temperament and their political, or I mean, I don't necessarily see it as politics anymore, like right versus left, because they work for the same masters no matter what. But I think people will just move to the areas of the country that treat them the best, and then that's it. Of course, you know, of course there are going to be fights, there are going to be murders, whatever that happens every day. But in terms of like a outright civil war, it's going to be a war of ideas more than anything. Man, it's going to be more of a war of words as well as laws. War of words and laws. War of words and laws. Okay. Wow. There goes the government. There goes the government. Getting all in our business. Okay, so civil war, not really seeing it. I feel like it's more, it's not going to be like, you know, freaking Confederates versus the Union guys. So if anyone is giving you that impression, I really hope that I'm not, but if anyone else is giving you that impression, they're full of shit. Okay. Like it's not going to be, you know, people bombing each other. It's like at most people are going to be talking trash to each other on Reddit. Okay. And Twitter, you know, well, actually, that's not at most. In terms of the things that people will do to each other, they're just going to talk trash. But in terms of the things that will happen in government, there will be laws that some people will obey and some people will leave so that they don't have to obey. But yes, yeah, so and I also asked about terrorist attacks. Wait, I asked about civil war. This is terrorist attacks. What the heck is this? Whatever. So I do see that there is a high possibility of terrorist attacks. I feel like this may be the third or fourth time that I'm saying this, and there is a high possibility of conflict with other countries. So I don't know if we're going to be starting anything anytime soon, or if we're going to come to a different country's aid. I feel like we may go to a different country's aid. So, you know, let me ask this, because I think what's happening with Taiwan. Well, okay. Wow. Okay, so I'm glad that I asked this. So we will definitely go to another country's aid. And I'm pretty sure this country is Taiwan, so this is one of my big yes cards. We love Taiwan, like that's what this card is showing. And we're definitely going to help them. We're going to help them. I did ask about Australia. Australia is on their own. Australia is basically on their own. Because I'm asking if we're going to help both of these countries against China. Taiwan, yes. Australia, maybe we'll give Australia money. Maybe we'll ask Australia to pay for more submarines. And then this is another card for what's going to be happening. So it definitely is going to be a stressful situation. And I did ask if we're going to send people there to fight. Yes, we are. We're going to send money, we're going to send aid, and we're going to send people to fight there. I feel like we may have already sent troops there, but they're just there in case. I feel like we did. I don't quote me on that. I feel like we did, but definitely do not quote me on that. So you know, Afghanistan, that's not the end of the warring. Let me ask one more war question just to be thorough. So I asked about the Taliban. I think for now, surprisingly, our relationship with the Taliban is going pretty smoothly. For now, it's going pretty smoothly. The thing with them is I've seen this is that they're just all over the place. They're definitely all over the place, but eventually they're going to get their shit together, and eventually they're going to be doing what they do best, which is terrorizing their people and other folks in different countries. So this is Europe, definitely yes. This is the US. I think yes, but I'll have to ask whether they're going to do anything in the US at a later date, probably late next year. But Europe, definitely. So watch out for that, guys. Interesting. Okay, so to close this out, I'm asking, what is America's energy before the Pluto return? And so I drew these oracle cards previously, and I had held them back for the end of the video. But so it's the void. So we're definitely going through a transformation. You know, darkest before the light. All those cliches, it's here. But so is the Eight of Wands, the Three of Swords, and the Three of Wands. So we're actually, even though there are a lot of delays, we're worried about things, we're very anxious, the US still has hope, I think. We still have hope for the future going into the Pluto return. And coming out, coming out, why the fuck is Trump here? So I asked about 2025. Why is Trump here? Why is he here? Why is Trump here, guys? Why? For the longest time, I felt that a female politician who was like center right or maybe Republican would be our next president 2025, but why is Trump here? This is he showed up at the beginning and he showed up at the end. Why is he here? So he's here, guys. He's here, man. And you know, I feel like some of that hope has dissipated. There's frustration about how things are going, but I feel like our communities, so smaller communities, are stronger. So I don't know. I guess technically it's almost like our innocence is gone. So it could have something to do with that whistleblower thing, and then people starting to realize that, oh my gosh, we've been manipulated. I feel like that's what's going to happen. But eventually, and this is a beautiful card. It's called Trust. And it's somebody who is being like a human that's being incubated under a mother goose. Well, technically it's a duck, but they're being incubated, they're being taken care of, and what's most important is that they're trusting themselves, they're trusting their gut. So I feel like even though America's innocence will be taken, I hate to say that, but like the regular person who isn't woke or who isn't awake or aware or whatever you want to call it, they may wake up to the fact that a lot of things that they believed before were false. Eventually they're going to arrive to a point where, you know what, I trusted this party, and this goes for all parties out there. It's not just Republicans, it's not just Democrats, but I trusted this party, I trusted this government, I trusted this expert, I trusted this person, but you know what, fuck that. Now I'm going to trust myself. And not only that, but I'm going to trust my neighbors who also trust themselves. So even though, you know, we have the possibility of Trump coming back, it's there. It could be Trump or his daughter, to be quite honest. And we do have some frustrations. You know, things aren't going to magically get better after a Pluto return. We still have to pick up the pieces. But I feel like the good thing about it is that people will start to rely on themselves again, because that's what people used to do in this country. But they're going to rely on themselves, and some of them, hopefully a lot of Americans, they're going to start being good to their neighbors, trusting their neighbors, and like having community again, you know, instead of relying on government. Because what's funny here is I don't see big government here. Not to say that things are going to topple over, there's going to be like some Marxist revolution or capitalist revolution like Ayn Rand says, but I don't see this dependence on government, not really. And it's possible that it could just be the people who watch me, because I think, you know, you guys are amazing, you guys know what's up, and even if you don't, you're curious to try to figure out what's up. So I think this goes for a lot of you guys, that you're just going to go through this huge growth spurt, and you're just going to be, you know, a little bit more independent and more willing to work with smaller people rather than bigger organizations or governments. So I think it's positive. I think that if you arrive to this with the best intentions of growth, of becoming more aware, of raising your vibrations, that's probably something else that I should talk about at a later date. I think oh wow, look at this. So look at this. This is Biden's card, but it was upside down. I'm not gonna say what I think is gonna happen to him, but yeah. Trump has been showing up for a reason, guys. But anyway, I think that this reading is actually quite positive. The Pluto return doesn't have to be negative. It doesn't have to be painful either. Just like try going with the flow and go with it with curiosity, with the intentions to learn. And you know, I think you should be fine. All right, so that is it. A whopper of a reading. I think this may be about an hour long. Again, if you would like a personal reading, just go to www.tarotbymoko.com/shop. And just in case you missed any of my announcements in the beginning, I have a couple of new readings. I have one that's called Root Detector. That's only for people who think that they're cursed. If you don't think you're cursed, don't get it. Please don't get it. Don't waste your time or money. But I also have New Year's readings. The cheaper version, the more simplified version, is $40, where I talk about your career, finances, or romance. Or if you want me to talk about other areas of your life, just let me know. And the more in-depth version of that reading, it's $90, and I talk about those same areas, but also give you a more in-depth about the lessons that you're going to learn, your challenges, your opportunities, any shadow work that you should do, as well as an oracle card advice for the year. So there's that. I will leave a link to that in the description box, as well as in the comments. But then if you don't want to pay, and that's totally fine, because like I saw, there are going to be some financial considerations that people will have to make. If you don't want to pay, on January 1st, I'm going to be doing an Instagram live, so don't even worry about it. You know, I will make another announcement when the time comes. But other than that, have a happy Christmas. I am filming this on Christmas Day. Have a happy New Year. Good luck with this Pluto return, and you guys are going to be okay. And I will see you guys later. Bye bye.